Now, I know this isn't a Lego set, but for me, it's still quarantine time, so I decided to add a little bit of a gimmick this time around. Instead of just listening to my voice the entire time, you'll be hearing it through this. Hopefully by this time, everything is settled down a little bit, and this will seem more of like a joke instead of a post-horror precaution, I guess you could say. So I'll just put this on and see how much it affects my mic. If at all you can't hear me, just know that I'm apologizing now. I don't know what this sounds like. I don't have my headphones on to let me know what it sounds like. One other thing, because I'm wearing glasses, the more I talk, the more it fogs up my glasses. So I have to find the perfect position to rest them on the bridge of my nose so it doesn't fog up the entire time. So I'll try my best, and I just gotta live with it, I guess. This, not the COVID. You know, you're not here for the gimmicks, so I'm just gonna start building. Yeah, okay. Here you go. Now, this is another pre-owned set that I had. So this isn't like pre-owned from eBay and then shipped here. This is me doing all of this myself before the episode started up. Aren't you proud of me? I finally did something that I said that I would do in a past episode. Now. How many episodes deep are we in? And I'm finally starting to do something. Let's just break this down. I've got 4 bags, and that's the recommended amount of bags that are actually in this set. There are 2 booklets, obviously, that you can see, and they do break the instructions off into 4 individual bags. I have them numbered, so I'll be able to tell. So I guess all I really need to do is just start off with bag 1 and booklet 1, and I'll tell you a little background information as well. This is set number 2506, also known as Skull Truck. It consists of 515 pieces and 4 minifigures. Jay, Zane, Lord Garmadon, and the Skeleton General Whiplash. This set was originally produced in August of 2011 and was originally priced at $59.99. I have no idea what the price is now, obviously. I bought this way before. There we go. I have everything all separated out. This is just bag 1. In future, I won't show the separation process just because I think it's not enjoyable. Plus, I won't have anything to say over top. And I have just as many topics that I wanted to talk about as there are bags. So it works out pretty evenly, I'd say. You know, in my head. But I guess I just show off the minifigures now. Zane, obviously you've seen before. Jay, you've seen before. Garmadon, you've only seen him in Garmadon's Dark Fortress. But Whiplash is a new one, and they all just fell over. Whiplash is a new general. He is the General of Ice. Maybe he might have been here. I can't quite remember. But his feature that the other skeleton generals don't have. He's got a worm coming out of the side of his head. It's really tiny on here, so there's no way that you're going to be able to see it in the camera view, unfortunately. Just something to help identify. I don't know why I continue to talk when I don't have anything planned. Let's get going with the first piece. Actually, first piece is because technically, there is no first piece. It immediately just starts building. Okay, so let's talk about the first topic that I wanted right off the bat. I'm pretty sure this is where it's supposed to add up. Like, it's just in the middle of this, and you're supposed to put these 2 little 1x2 pieces on the bottom. Really awkward, but I'll live with it, I guess. So the first topic that I wanted to talk about, obviously the face mask. It's a gimmick that is supposed to make up for another gimmick that I had in mind. In the previous episode, I don't remember if I talked about it or not. I don't think I did, but that's besides the point. I originally wanted to wake up early in the morning, go to Wendy's while they had it, because this episode is definitely not going to be out by the time it's gone. Before it's gone, excuse me. Wendy's released their breakfast Baconator, and I'm a fan of the whole egg in a burger idea. I've had it only once and on a thing that was just simply known as the breakfast burger, and it was good. I enjoyed it actually quite a bit. I wanted to do a gimmick where I would say that I was going to open up the set, immediately start opening up the burger instead and eating that. But then I started to think about all the issues that it would have. I'd have to wake up in the morning. I'd have to trouble some poor person into making it early in the morning, as well as this whole disease thing that's going on, and sickness and virus. So it wasn't the best idea, but it was supposed to be a joke. So this is kind of making up for it, and I just really wanted to make that apparent. And even though that I did apologize for it, hold on, am I putting this in the right way? No, I just realized that I put in all of these the wrong way because I'm building it. Wait, hold on. Oh wait, no, I am building it the right way. I'm just being paranoid. Obviously, with the whole COVID-19 thing going around, I didn't really see the full need of trying to go through with this one stupid little gimmick idea. At the time, I just thought, like, hey, this is something that I'm interested in already. Why not just tie it into something as a joke? Boy, oh boy, do I wish that I had done it, because I could still technically do it even now, but I still don't want to go out and do it. But then it would still at least give people their paycheck, I guess. Kind of a big thing right now is people are starting to worry about whether they'll get paid or not. And unemployment has hit the big time as of right now, but hopefully, by the time this video comes out, I'll, this won't be, look to the future, but, oh boy, I'm kind of digging myself a grave, aren't I? I don't know what's to come. Oh well. Switching to this one, this stupid little gimmick that I've got. I have no idea how it's supposed to turn out, because it could come out really well, or it could just, like, be a terrible idea. I gotta make two of those. It could just be a one-off thing, or it could be a terrible idea that I just don't realize how much it actually does affect my mic. I don't really think that it affects it all too much. Am I putting this on the right way? That's for me to find out in the future, and for you to find out in the future, or as of right now, because you won't be experiencing it right now with me, and then re-experiencing it. I don't know. I'm just kind of stupid, you know? Trying to put these together reminds me of trying to take it apart, obviously, because I had to take it apart before putting it back together. It's reminding me of how easy and hard this was to take apart. Now, when I say that, you're probably questioning everything I just said when I say easy and hard. It sounds stupid, and I know, because it is stupid. When I say it was easy to take apart, everything just came apart really easily, except for one part that you'll see in bag 3, I believe. Everything just came apart fairly easily. The piece remover was helpful when necessary, but as you start to take more and more apart, if you try and do what I do and like follow the reverse order of the booklets to take it apart nice and neatly, just so you make sure that none of the pieces go awry or go into a carpet. Works out okay, and I'll talk a little bit more after I get to this part right here. So I'll just try and show you the booklet the best I can. So if you look up here for this next step, we're going to need 2 of the grooved rods, and then one specific piece that probably brought up this set quite a bit. It's a spring that's meant for suspension later in the design. For these specific rods, you might have seen at the top there's a 1-to-1 ratio of which rod you're supposed to pick. There are a few rods that you can pick from, well, not really pick from, that are meant to be used. So they have a way for you to just put it up to the mat, see which size you need, and it works out pretty well for an instruction booklet, I thought. These people know what they're doing, okay? And I think I praise them enough as is. So I'm just gonna build these and show a little bit of what they can do. Oh god, no, don't disappear. Okay. Seems fine to me. and it's got a little bit of a springiness to it, as it should, because it's a spring. Why do people watch me? And they just sit in there. There's nothing really keeping them in there is the issue, which is why you put this off to the side now. Oh god, hope everything doesn't fall apart, and then basically build the other side. So now, where was I? I believe I was talking about how hard and easy this was to take apart. With the way everything is sorted in the specific fashion, like there's no good drop-off point when like separating out the bags and everything. It just seems awkward to leave off at certain points. You'll see after I finish bag 1 and bag 2 with this booklet, and then when I get on to bag 3, like it just finishes off at weird points. Obviously there's only so much that you can fit into one bag, but it kind of just seems unnecessary to have the 2 booklets. Maybe if it was like another set that you'll see in the future where it's like the minifigures and one part, and then the next part is completely separate. I don't think we've seen a set like that yet. It's just such an awkward drop-off, but I mean, I still had fun even taking this apart. I originally thought that this set was going to take way longer. I guess I never realized how little I actually did have to talk about some of the topics, so I guess I'll just try and spit out as much nonsense as I can, possibly. Am I putting these in wrong again? Kinda rushing into the future. This is probably one of the most fun designs that'll lead up into the future, and it's so fun to watch it progress, even though that I am saying that it's really awkward to look at it like each break. Every time that you do progress, like it just keeps building, you know, like Legos, to this end product that just looks so cool. And it's kind of cool to see how everything just comes together for this one final project. My mask is starting to slip. Well, I don't really know if it's the mask or the mask from me talking, or my glasses, but it's something. But the more that I talk and the more that I move it and the more that it sits on my face and the more time that it has to be affected by gravity, quite literally, the more everything slides around and the more I talk, more fog is produced and the less I can see. It's just my breath coming back at my face 100% of the time. And speaking of trying to get used to talking with this thing, this was originally supposed to be a topic that's supposed to come later in the thing, but as I said, I talk through the topics that I have quite quickly. This time around, I've just started editing, or not that. I've just started streaming myself editing. There we go. Yeah, that's the appropriate way to talk about it. I think I talked about this in the last episode, but I tried to do it before and it just didn't work out. As it turns out, I actually can. I just couldn't do it before because I was trying to do it on a laptop, which doesn't have enough RAM to keep editing and streaming at the same time. And even trying to say that, I can't render a video and stream at the same time because that uses too much power on my new PC. So whenever I get to that part and I just have to let the video render itself, I just have to end the stream there. So I've only streamed once editing, and it's only been the very first episode of the Avatar series. So when was this recorded? There. If I don't say something specifically and with as much detail, sometimes it just goes over the viewer's head, or at least I think it does, because sometimes whenever I'm watching someone myself, I feel as if like that happens a lot. Like somebody tries to start to explain something, but then they don't explain it in enough detail. And then myself, I just kind of get myself into a worry as to whether or not I'm doing something correctly, and I happen to over-explain a lot of crap. After putting that one in, it's a bit awkward because these little feet kind of prop it up, and then these springs don't have anywhere to go, so they just jut out the sides. And then this next thing that I'm probably thinking is going to be what it actually stands on. Just kind of hovers there. Hovers over top the springs that aren't already in the position. And I just realized that I've been building this away from you guys that entire time. Whoopsies. There you go. Now you can kind of see. So this is what it's really supposed to be standing on. And then these springs kind of got in the way before. And then these feet are what kept it balanced upward. With all this moisture collecting on top of my, or not on top, but in this face mask, it's starting to make my nose run a little bit. So you'll have to excuse this sniffling every now and then. Hopefully it won't happen ever again. I mean, it's my fault for even thinking of this stupid gimmick, but oh well. Being in this quarantine that it is, and even though quarantine wouldn't be the correct term for it, I'm gonna be predicting that there's going to either be a riot midway through, just with people getting antsy that they can't leave their homes, even though that it's just following a basic rule. We already have people that break the law already, so I doubt that it's gonna get any easier. Unless fear strikes in so much that nobody does anything after a while. Because it's only lasting this year, Unis Honest, the channel between Markiplier and Crank gameplays, they did this video where they decided to try and test themselves as to whether or not they could go 15, which then produced into 30 minutes of not touching their face. And they're also trying to test themselves as to how many times that they actually do touch their face in the rest of their videos for the rest of this quarantine and whatever. And they're just donating, however, they're donating $100 to a specific charity of the fans choosing. It's admirable, but they discuss that how this might actually change the way that people think, act, whatever, more consciously, more conscious of germs and how they spread, whether people will even act differently at all once this thing is lifted, or if it's never truly lifted. It's just, hey, still lingering around. You could still technically catch this, but for the most part you're safe, that sort of ordeal. And that's another thing to think of as well. Like, will this continue on after? Like, is there a chance of this specific strain of COVID ever mutating into like the next iteration of it? Technically, with the way that it has come and gone so quickly, I don't think that there's going to be enough time for it to actually mutate, because either it's going to succeed or it's going to fail, and that's the only way to really look at it. And with the way that modern medicine actually does act, it's most likely going to fail. But one of the most recent things to come out of the gaming sphere, just because I can only talk about that because I really don't care about the news, in all honesty. A lot of it just ends up pissing me off because I know what has to go into making the news after spending time taking a video production course with an actual television producer. Television show producer, I should probably say that, not producing televisions. I know what has to go into making the news, and anytime that there's a story with something horrific, it is most likely going to be the only thing that you ever see on the news 100% of the time. Some stories come and go. They'll try and repeat stuff throughout the day, but most of the time those stories barely ever repeat, and the ones that do repeat are the ones about, say, a mass murder or something. A lot of that seems to get repeated, or a tornado, or a tsunami, something disastrous. And there's a slogan that goes into doing that, and it's known as, if it bleeds, it leads. Unfortunately, that is the truth, and it's very apparent once you start to watch the actual news. If you pay attention for it, the moment that you start thinking that, hey, I think I've seen this before, which story was it that you started to pay attention to again when it starts to repeat? It's always going to be something That's bad. And right now, that's all that the news is right now with COVID-19. Unfortunately, information needs to be spread and it needs to be correct. But with how many times that the information is spread, it kind of just keeps cycling, and that's what causes a lot of the panic. Okay, now for this next thing. So this part, obviously, you can see that I'm just pushing these rods back and forth, and it doesn't really do anything. I need them both out to the center. So here's a little trick that, let's say, I believe his channel name is Chris Ramsey. If you like this sort of stuff, I definitely recommend checking out that channel, because what he likes to do is magic tricks and using his hands. But on the side, he also does these puzzle boxes, which piqued my interest. So that's a thing that you might actually like as well. Chris Ramsey, knowing that a lot of puzzles like to use specific movements, one of his favorite things to do is spin something, and using centripetal motion and not centrifugal, because there's no such thing as centrifugal force. There's a thing known as a centrifuge, which uses centripetal motion to send out water, and that's what the centrifugal force came from. The centrifuge is using centripetal force. Basically what that long-winded explanation is using the force of outward motion. So if we spin this, oh god, I gotta put it back in the center. Come on. There we go. If you just continue to spin it in the center as best as possible, you'll be able to separate them out in the center, because everything moves outward and shoots outward. Now, how do I keep these in place is the issue. I probably shouldn't have done that just yet, because there's some other pieces that I need to put on first. Shit. Okay, now what do the rest of these pieces have to do? Uh-oh. Well, that's kind of bad. Since it is the middle page and the staples started to wear away, came out a bit. Unfortunately, that does happen. It has seen some age, yada yada yada. Okay, so where do these go? I missed 2 of these. And that's not good. If I have 2 extra pieces, where the hell do they go? Yep, that's exactly what happened. I didn't... There's supposed to be a black bar right in between this middle part on both sides. I thought it felt weird when I tried to put them together, like it didn't really latch together at all. Remember that part about me saying that it was easy to take apart? Well, trying to put it back together while trying to talk cursed me. This is just an issue because there's a certain order and how you're supposed to build them, so this doesn't happen. Oh no. Well, children, let this be a lesson as to why you follow the directions to a T. I've almost spent an hour in recording and it's only been 1 bag, but I know from this point on it's, I think, a lot quicker, but my fault for trying. And like I said, I'm just going to skip the sorting phase for you, because I don't really have much to talk about. And judging on how fast the sorting went, I'm assuming that this part of the building is going to go much quicker, but that's only speculation. But if I remember correctly, this was also the part where everything started to go into like overdrive, like bag 2 and bag 3, when I was separating it out, kind of like went a lot quicker than bags 1 and 4, if I remember correctly. But I don't know, that might have just been because bag 4 was disassembling bag 4 was just me getting back into like building mode. And this is around the time like when everything starts to like come together in design and shows off like what Lego actually can do. Of all the sets in Ninjago, I'm pretty sure that this one is my favorite to look at. Like, it's like there's going to be one set that follows up right after that has quite a bit of history surrounding it. But wait, why did I separate 2 black piles. What? Okay, I didn't realize I had done that. And I cannot wait to like talk about it and geek over it for a little bit. So that'll be coming in the next set. But for the design of it, I think it's still cool, but like there's a main reason why people got it. And for this set, like it's a little bit of an underappreciated set in my opinion, because the one right after it takes up so much precedence over it, unfortunately. And I still enjoy it. I mean, that's why I'm doing it again in this whole series, right? I just think that this is the best design for these sets. Like, once this is all together and you can actually see like the finished product, I just think that this is the best designed set. And hopefully, I didn't mess up when trying to set up the lighting and the exposure and everything for this set, because I can already see that there is some mishap with the white, and I'm not sure if you can see any detail in the white, and that's always been an issue using this webcam that I have, is that it doesn't appropriate white correctly. It doesn't set the appropriate color for true white, which this is not really. Like, what it looks like for you guys, from what I can see, is blaring white, but this is like a cream color now because it's sat out a little bit and has some collected dust. I need to make 2 of these. Okay. As much as I do love the design of this set and the way that it looks, I think I also might have remembered a reason why this set might not be as highly regarded in like a play function, I guess. It's like a toy or something compared to the next one. This set kind of only has like 2 play functions. Beyond just being a skull truck, it has something else that comes, I think in the 4th bag, I think is like when you finally actually start to build it. Black one. Or is this not? Oh wait, this isn't the right white platform. Okay, that's why. Something just wasn't adding up, and that's what it was. It was the wrong white and not the wrong black. That sounds bad. Oh yeah, now I remember when I was taking this apart. I thought this part was weird. So let me turn this toward you so I actually have this set up correctly. Quite literally, right when you start putting on these yellow studs right here, that's what those are called. That's what these are called. I remember. These are studs. This platform is literally just held together by this one 2x1 area of this yellow block. And that's it. Wait, and then it only connects there? So it's still not even like fully connected. It's still hanging over by quite a bit. Like, if you can see, there's still at least one block that just hangs off the edge. I'm trying to remember what this is actually like building toward. And like, as you can already see, like I'm already like thinning out the herd already. So like I thought before, like this bag and bag number 3 go quick. So I might actually be right and not just me thinking that bag number 4 and 1 were just like took me a while. It's just that bags 2 and 3 are just really barren. I did have a topic in mind that I was going to... Oh yeah, now I remember. So I was talking about like a tagline for some new Hulu exclusive movie, and it's about like one kid whose friend is like this college kid or something, or like a family member who's a college kid or something, and it's supposed to be like a low budget Project X sort of movie, I think is what it's supposed to be. The father, who is one of the main people from 2.5 Men, that's the show. The skinnier gentleman. I unfortunately have never watched the show just because I didn't always think it was that funny. That's just me. You can think that I'm wrong, and I won't tell you you're right or you're wrong. I'll just keep living my life. Yeah, one of the taglines that he says, and one of his memorable lines from the commercial that Hulu has for it, is it only takes 10 seconds of stupid to ruin your life. And that is technically correct. Just like what happened before, it took me 2 pieces of stupid that resulted in like probably 10 minutes of trying to mess back around with crap that was unnecessary. But speaking of Hulu, I know I've talked about how my family recently got into Netflix, and I enjoyed all of Breaking Bad. Yeah, I couldn't think of the title of the show, and I loved it so much. Wow, fake fan over here. We recently just got Hulu as well. For the last 3 days, I think it's been. I've been enjoying all of South Park, and I've only just gotten to season 4, I think. And wow, it like progress that these animators have gone like and done is incredible. Like, if you go back, if you watch some of the new stuff right now, like I have been, because I joined just recently in the whole South Park craze. It's amazing to go back and watch the old episodes and see how far they've progressed and how they animate. I don't know why I pronounced it like that. Animate stuff. Because some of their early stuff includes like explosions and like volcanic eruptions. That's like pretty big stuff that people have to like try and figure out how it works. And like, if you were to ask them to animate it now, they'd probably scoff at like what they did before, because it just looks so low tier as compared to like what they're doing now. Now, some people might have had an issue with, I guess, I don't know, like they might just be making a joke about it in their last season, but there's a joke in which people in which they write themselves that people didn't like their Halloween special or whatever, and that just might be them just like trying to build up jokes. But I thought the latest season was good. And God, I'm going through these first 4 seasons and seeing all these inside jokes that are needed to understand more of the South Park universe, and it's actually hilarious to see how much I've actually missed. And even though that I've played through both South Park games on my channel, I kind of want to go back through them and like stream both of them into completion. I don't think I mentioned this in the last episode. I probably did. I've wanted to try and start streaming again on Twitch, so I'm trying to go back and forth between Mixer and Twitch, streaming myself editing, as well as just playing whatever I want to play, whether it be Call of Duty Modern Warfare, because that's big right now. Actually, Call of Duty Modern Warfare Warzone is big right now, but I don't really have all that many people to play that with, and you need a squad for any battle royale, preferably. If you're bad, people who are good can just solo it and wreck everybody, but I am not said person. Oh yeah, I remember what this is building up to now. Yeah. So I need to keep it like this. Yeah, that's right. And another thing from Hulu is that I never realized how much they actually owned of like the shows that I would probably enjoy over Netflix. Like, Hulu owns the rights to The Simpsons, Rick and Morty. Is cursed of a show that is, because of their fan base. I genuinely think that I would enjoy it, but I don't want to get in the mix, because when I was in college, there were people that did exactly what you heard about on the news. They didn't do the Szechuan dipping sauce. Yeah. Oh God. They didn't do the Szechuan dipping sauce thing, but they definitely thought that Pickle Rick was this shit, and oh my God, I wanted to rip my ears out. I've actually even seen the episode. That's one of the few episodes that I have seen, and I was getting ready for this like spectacular thing. No, it's literally just, hey, I'm a pickle, and that's it. And I don't understand what was so big about it. Like, it's not even like a joke. It's just like a plot of an episode. It's not like it's this grand old schemy thing that is hilarious to watch. I kind of want to go through that series as well and like finish 3 seasons. I think they're releasing 4 right now. Is that correct? Don't quote me on that, because obviously this is in the past. And if you have any other shows that are like that, whether it be oh wait, yeah, I just remembered another thing that Hulu had over Netflix is that they have the rights to Family Guy and American Dad. I think, because if they've got those two, they should also probably have the Cleveland Show. Is it the Cleveland Show or Cleveland Show? The two words, Cleveland Show. I think it's the Cleveland Show. American Dad, Family Guy, and the Cleveland Show. It's gotta be the Cleveland Show. These little things on top of these flimsy blocks is kind of annoying, so I'm just gonna do everybody a favor and take it off real quick. This block, not my shirt. And that's the end of book 1. Now let's try and head over to book 2 and see what else I can do wrong, right? So, as you might have noticed, I don't know if you can actually tell, but there is a special pile that we have not seen before on this channel. And that's not a color, actually. It's transparent, clear, water-like, glass-like, something. And the thing about me mentioning that it's like water has some story and context behind it. Go back into middle school, maybe, or like my first year of high school, something. I'm at this seminar for STEM, I think it was, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. I walk into this classroom with a bunch of other kids that are involved in this thing. It's not really like everybody joins this. It's kids that are just doing extremely well in their classes are just supposed to represent their school, and that's literally all that it is. My school walks in, we sit down, we're waiting for this supposed college professor doing this stuff that he wants us to do, and then as we're learning, because obviously this thing is supposed to have a agenda. No, that's the word I'm looking for. Basically an itinerary of what we're supposed to do in that like hour of time that we're with this teacher or whatever. He just happens to ask one simple question, and by simple I mean one asinine question. The entire class is supposed to identify acids and bases without knowing what they are, without knowing their responses, what they do. Like you're left up with this instruction booklet and how things react, but there's no names tied to them. It's just like chemical A reacts with element B and shit like that. Like there's no like way to know like what processes do what. I think it's supposed to be a way to prevent kids that are already like in chemistry, a way to have like an upper hand against students that are in like middle school. I swear I was in middle school when we first started to do it, but yada yada yada. And you're supposed to do this test against water, and this asshole decides to ask, what color is water? What do you mean, what color is water? It's clear, isn't it? And that's what runs through all of the children's heads, and we have no idea what to say. And then one person just happens to speak up because he is the alpha of the group, and because he's the alpha of the group, he gets shut down as hard as ever. He just simply responds, I believe it was a he, could have been a girl, I don't know. He simply responds and says, clear? Like, honestly, like questioning if that's even correct. No, this asshole just says, no, stupid. Doesn't anybody teach you what to do? Or like, I'm paraphrasing, but I cannot remember exactly what he said. And everybody just shuts up and understands that this is the asshole of this college. Everybody understands it immediately. And even the teacher that I went to this thing with, after everything was all said and done, was like, what the hell was that about? But the fact that he calls a child that he doesn't even know stupid blew us all away in the thought that this is an adult. That came out of an adult's mouth. Are you stupid? It's colorless. So if you ever get asked that, just test someone. Just say clear. I dare you. Say clear. I do not care if you get in trouble. If you do, march up to the front of the classroom and show them this video. I'll put like a timestamp right all over the you'll understand. It's all in the foreground, and you'll memorize that number, that timestamp of when you should just approach this teacher and say, well, you're stupid and an asshole. Let that explain the whole situation to them. Because if they can do that to you, you can ridicule them because you are now an adult in college. Oh yeah, now I remember the rest of this part that I'm building right now. You'll see like why it's kind of odd when it connects to this. It's really I don't want to spoil anything, but I'll just say it's really odd how both pieces, because I'll treat these as two big pieces and not two separate entities. Really odd to see how they connect. For the series that I am recording right now, which just so happen to be all of the Ben 10 games, for anyone that is suspicious of the last series that I played, Ben 10 Omniverse, and like simply stating, oh wait, hold on, hold that thought. I'll come back to it as soon as I get this. Okay, so this is very important to address. These pieces are the white prong pieces that I've put on before. You can see them here and here. But then there's these tiny little black pieces that attach here. And they're supposed to be made into windows, side view mirrors, for this truck. There's no way to take these off, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know how anyone would ever take these off, simply due to the fact that once they slide on, they can't slide off, and when you try and take them off, they produce this sound. And that's kind of frightening if you think about it. It's like a very loud cracking, creaking sound. And when dealing with Legos that we've already seen on this channel break, kind of frightening. So now going back to the topic that I originally wanted to talk about before I got into the Windows situation and possibly accidentally breaking a piece, I wanted to talk about the Ben 10 game, Ben 10 Omniverse. Now, I feel as if like people would say that, hey, like you already own that game and you own the first one. Don't you think that you're looking at both of them objectively as they are good because you played them before? Hey, I played through all of Ben 10 Alien Force as well, and we all know how that ended up. That was just a rough ride, to say the least. Also, there's this like jail cell piece sort of thing in here. I don't know what that's about. But yeah, like it came across my mind that somebody might leave that sort of comment. Obviously, those episodes have not come out as I have just started editing Avatar. Like that shows how far in advance I am in recording and everything. I just thought about it. What I'm about to build, I was able to take apart before, but not these windows. Why are these ones so much tighter than the ones that I'm about to build now? I don't understand. Oh well, I'll just live with it. The thought entered my head and I just kind of went on with it because there's not really much that I can do if somebody leaves that comment, because I can just address it here, address it in the future. I enjoyed the first game. I did not enjoy Alien Force. I kind of enjoyed Alien Force Vilgax Attacks. I barely enjoyed Ultimate Alien. I enjoyed with some of Ben 10 Omniverse, and I'm looking forward to Ben 10 Omniverse 2 because I have no idea what that's about. I don't even know if Ben 10 Omniverse, and I talked about it while I was recording it, I don't even know if Ben 10 Omniverse followed any story of the series at all. And here we go. There we go. First Headlight that goes up top, and it just slides into the piece that I was dealing with before. So I don't know why they didn't want to come out for the windows, but they came out for the headlights. Maybe because there's like more weight to grab onto with these, instead of just tiny little flimsy pieces that you just break off of because it's all on one axis instead. I have to make two of those, I just realized. Another thing that I should probably address, the reception I got for, I think I already talked about this, the reception I got for the very first Lego set, Ninja Ambush. I mean, it is a pretty simple set, so I didn't expect anybody to even like look at it to begin with, but the reception that it's getting is actually kind of impressive for like the set that it is. Like, it's something kind of simple, but it's still the very first set of Ninjago, and it's also the collector's edition that some people might just like turn away from already. So I didn't even think about that aspect, that other people might enjoy just like watching, because I have never looked up other people building it. I've only looked up like the creative minds behind the sets that Lego used to do. I don't think they do it anymore, but just like, hey, this guy was in charge of designing this set, and I really like watching the minds behind the development of certain sets. One in particular was Ice Dragon Attack. I vividly remember the person's face, but I cannot remember the poor guy's name, unfortunately. But I just remember watching it, and I was impressed that like one person was supposed to just sit there and talk about his work. I mean, I'd probably just sit there and just be like, oh, looks good. I'm proud of that. These videos, for the most part, I just spit out nonsense. Gotta be what that guy had to do. And for the most part, most of them just sit there and kind of stammer a bit and don't have like a coherent thing, because it's not really cut up in a proper fashion. Like, it's just supposed to be like a one cut thing with maybe different camera angles of B-roll and the like, and most of the B-roll is just of the set that's in front of him and him just like using it and playing with it, even though that he's not really supposed to, because he has to still like show it off in a simple fashion. Like, that's what Lego really is just a suggestion of how you're supposed to build something. You don't really need to follow the instructions, even though that I prefer to, because it just makes everything look so much cleaner. But following the directions is much better than going off on your own, end up ruining pieces that you can't ever separate, like the ones that are in this set, even though you are following instructions. It all leads up to this important bit, following the instructions, where you use these rubber bands. Something that I talked about, I think, in the very first video. Something that I was afraid of whether or not that they would preserved well enough. These ones seem to be, but I know that there are some in other sets in the future that are stuck in very awkward positions. These seem to have a pretty good resting point, so they don't need to worry about anything too much. There we go. That's the start of something new. And I think, yeah, that was the first set with rubber bands. Or this is the first set with rubber bands, not this was. Because I don't know what the very first set in Lego ever to have rubber bands was. And then because I only got interested in this series. Can I... I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it before, but I do have one set of Star Wars, which is the Millennium Falcon. But I know that there's so many iterations of it that it's hard to know like which one I'd be talking about. It's the one with like 1,254 pieces, I think is what the total is. I could be wrong, but I know it's at least over 1,000. Is what it's supposed to be. It did take me a while, and that was like my first proper set, because I did talk about the very first Lego set that I ever did, and that was that battleship that I didn't do anything with. But yeah, I bought the Millennium Falcon as a kid, built it, and there was an error at the very end of all the building somehow. Like, I had to use a separate piece that wasn't used anywhere else as a foot for the Millennium Falcon. And if you ever want me to build that on camera, just leave a comment below and letting me know that, hey, yeah, I'd like to see that. How long have I been recording? So it's almost up to 2 hours as of right now. I think I'm going to finish before I normally would with any of the other sets, just because I got a quick start to the day. I wanted to get up earlier, but I still didn't wake up exactly when, and then the stomach bug hit me like it does every morning. Oh, here we are. Yeah, okay. So on to this awkward area, and then the front, just line up, and then you just set it down here, and the pieces don't connect really. It just sits in there. Like, these black pieces right here stop it from connecting here and onto the bottom. So you just line it up, and then you take these two little prongs that are left, and you slide them in those tea holder things that were in the very first part. Now everything's connected. It just sits there though. It just kind of sits on top, which I thought, like, I completely forgot when I first built this. So when I was taking it apart, I just looked at it and I was like, wait a minute. These things actually aren't connected at all. It's just there. So here's all of bag 4 for you. And here's the extra pieces. You might not be able to tell what they are right now. But the reason I have them stacked is because it's black on black. But if I move it over to the brown area for you to see pretty well, these are tires. I'll keep these down below, not in the way of anything. So the pieces files difference isn't exactly the most proportional thing. There's literally one yellow piece and then a giant mound of white. Get going, I guess, because this needs to be finished in an appropriate amount of time. Jesus, is that a tough combo to say? I don't know if I'm just stupid or not. Well, I know that I'm stupid, but am I napped as well? I don't know if I should be making those jokes. I don't know. You know what? People get offended, they get offended. They can leave a comment down below and give me more comments to answer, thus making my search results for my channel that much higher. So, yeah. Hey, if you've got a problem with me, let me know. In the end, it'll probably just help me. So, if you don't like me, leave a comment. If you like me, leave a like. If you don't like me, leave a like. Actually, if you don't like me, tell someone else about me to check out my channel and see if they don't like me as well. Yeah, see if they don't like me at all. That'd be the best way for you to show how much you don't like me, is by getting someone else who doesn't like me in your group and saying how much you don't like me and coming back every time I upload and talking about why you don't like me. But don't mention it in the comments, because then you'll get people mad at you. Talking it amongst yourselves, but come back for every video. Yeah, that's what you need to do. Just come back every video. You'll do that just for me, right? I'm starting to question as to whether or not this camera angle is actually any good, because I know that from the way it looks, it's still kind of a distance away, so it doesn't show as much detail as I would like in the other camera angle that I have available. This allows for more height, which is going to be very, very important for the next set. But for this set, it's iffy, to say the least. If anything, it'd probably like remove the top part where somebody would be sitting in the... Oh shit, I hit my mic. Somebody would be sitting in the cockpit. Cockpit isn't right. Cabin? Is that right for a truck? I mean, I own a truck. I drive a truck. I should know that. But still not sure. For some odd reason, my mind is blanking. If you're ever concerned about whenever you want to place like a certain piece, look for the different colors, like say white on black for this instance. These, if you didn't know where to put this end in this mess for this white block, if you look for the two different colors and see where they both line up on which stud, it helps out quite a bit. I'm just gonna say it now, my back is starting to ache. But it didn't hurt or ache at all while I was taking it apart. Maybe because I was in a more relaxed position. Because whenever I have this mic in front of me, I have to sit up a little bit because I don't want it to pull too forward or too far back. This is the point where I thought that this was the coolest looking design as compared to any of the others. And you'll understand why once I start putting on some of the finishing touches for this section. There we go. Look at that. That is the coolest looking skull that we've seen on any of the other sets, on any of the skeleton related sets, and it's such a clean design too. Unfortunately, I'm trying to show it off the best I can with like shadows and everything, but it's such a clean design. The giant skull, and I'll show you a little bit of like what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to munch like so. I know I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but can you blame me? It's such a cool design. just because I know that this is this is one part of this design, and then once you're finished with this, you're supposed to build another one as a mirror image. A lot of the time, whenever like I built something where you had to like build like multiple of one design, I always like to challenge myself a little bit and see if I could build it without looking at the instructions again, and see if I can build it 100% without having to look at all. If you just clamp that down, there we go. A little jail cell for the ninja. They can't move any other way. And it hides a little bit of the mess back here, so you can't really see like in where the actual build is. It's such a clean looking design. I cannot say that enough. And with that, I've skipped to the part that we build next. I don't know why I tried to make that into a musical number, but that failed miserably. And now comes the issue of the latter pages of this book, where it starts to get so flimsy and so light that it starts to bend, because this has been in a box where it's kind of cramped and it just pushes all the books together, and then it starts to cause a mess. And then you can barely open up a book. When I breathed in for that little sound effect, the face mask went down my throat. But after this episode, I will not be wearing it again, because it is still kind of annoying to constantly wear it. But I don't mind. It's to protect someone else. It's not to protect me in any way. It's to protect someone else. And that's basically what these are actually meant for. It's not to stop you from being infected. It's supposed to stop others from being infected, which is kind of a good thing, because I, in my family, am known as the carrier. If I get sick, I am basically out of commission, and I end up being like this whiny little brat that can't care for himself. Oh yeah, for this part, for this little hand looking thing, they recommend that they have the fingers out, but I like to kind of do this little thing with them, like have them positioned so like it could latch on, basically. But it says don't ever let this happen, like when it becomes a fist, because then it like causes issues. So just open it up and do whatever feels comfortable, I guess. And we just pull back the rubber band area, slide that in, and bam, got that. And I'll be able to show you what it does in the future, but we're just waiting for now. For some reason, it feels a bit sticky. I don't know why. I don't know if it's dust or something, but there's like a layer of something on it. I feel as if like it is dust, but it could also just be like a membrane or a material that's on the outer rim of these tires. That, no, it's definitely dust. As I'm touching these more and more, I'm looking at my fingers and there's a bunch of dust collected on them, which I am allergic to. So as soon as I'm done with this, I need to go wash off my hands, which you should be doing too, regardless of whether the COVID virus is still going around or not. Wash your fucking hands, you heathen. Every time you shake hands, every time you touch something dirty, every time you go to the bathroom, asshole, wash your hands. And we're looking at 2 hours and almost 20 minutes in building. And I'm basically done looking at this. I just have to build 4 of these things to put on the edges of the outer rims of the tires, and then 4 of these to go on the outer rims of the tires. I'll position it here. And I think it doesn't, I don't think this thing goes too far, the hand. So I'm just gonna position the ninja like right here, and if I do need to do a couple more takes, I will, but I shouldn't need to. Just Garmadon, that's right, he's not Lord Garmadon yet. Even though technically he is supposed to be Lord Garmadon, but I think only in his next form and iteration of this series does he become Lord Garmadon. Like, I think he's just Garmadon here. But, that being said, we pull this switch back. Oh yeah, I couldn't have asked for anything better. Ah, that felt nice to do. Doesn't launch too far, but that's all I could ask, was just a simple success. And I got it on the first try, but I did test it out before I took this thing apart, so I kind of knew where to gauge it. But that being said, this is all that I'm going to be doing today. That being said, have a nice day.